Teacher Mrs. Klein. I've been thinking about how research has been going in our classes for our first PBL and our first essay, and I don't really think it's been going that well. So I wanted to take this opportunity to review how to research so that everyone in my class can be very successful with this project. All right, so before I begin reviewing what research is, I'm going to go ahead and ask some questions. I ask questions because that will help me focus and that'll help me make sure that I am clearly explaining what I need to explain. So the first question I'm going to cover is, what is research? And then a related question, what is a source? Then I'm going to cover why. Why should I research? Where can I find sources? How do I research? When do I stop researching? So you will know that this was a successful video if I have answered all of these questions for you by the time that I'm done, and I think I will. All right, before we answer those questions, just real quick, who is researching? Who is researching is every single student in my 9th grade literature class, not one person per group. So if you're watching this video and you are in my class, you are responsible for doing your own research. All right, what is research? Research is the investigation into and the study of materials and sources to establish facts and reach new conclusions. Now, sources, that's important, and I'm going to talk about what those are in a minute, but reaching new conclusions is also important. You are going to write an essay, and essays always end with conclusions. So, at this point, you've asked a question, you're going to look into the answers of that question, and then you're going to be able to come to a conclusion that you will discuss in your essay. Now, real quickly, what is a source? Because there's been a little bit of confusion. A source is a document used to provide evidence in research. So examples include articles, reports, graphs, websites. Examples do not include Google or Galileo. Those are databases. They help you find sources, but they are not actually sources. So you should never cite them on your Works Cited page. You will cite the actual article, the actual report, the actual graph that you read after you searched for it through these databases. If you are not clear on this, please come talk to me and I will help you out. But for example, this article that we read in class, I found through Googling. So I typed into Google the wage gap, all right? Once I typed that into Google, it took me to money.cnn.com. So my source is money.cnn.com, and when I cite that, I will need the title, the author, the link to it because it's a digital source, and I will need the date. Now, I will show you how to cite sources and all of that later in this unit, but I want you to be clear, even though I used Google to find this, Google is not my source. The article itself is my source. It's the document where I found my evidence. All right, so now that we've covered who and what, we need to cover where and why. So where do you go to start your research? Well, you need to go to my website. On my website, I have created a document for you that has links to all sorts of topics. You can find it here. That document is also posted on my classroom, classroom.google.com. I also have a link to Galileo there. If you use Galileo, the password is TWIN, T-W-I-N. And if you feel like those sources, you're not finding what you need here, you can go to news.google.com, which will find resources for you from all sorts of different news websites like CNN, Huffington Post, local newspapers, all of that. Now remember that none of these are sources. They are ways to find sources. I should not see any of these on your Works Cited page. All right, so some of you have been asking in class, why? Why are we doing this research? I'm doing my paper on human trafficking, and I've already written a paper on that, so I know everything I need to know. Well, remember, our question for this PBL is, what is a problem your generation needs to solve? And in order to solve a problem, you need to understand it. While you may think you already understand it, it is always good to check yourself because sometimes we don't know the full depth of the problem. So first, you need to define your topic, you need to learn its history, you need to find examples, and find possible solutions. Even if you think you know all of this already, you could probably brush up and sharpen And you also want to make sure that you're right, because sometimes I think I know something, and then when I look it up, it turns out that I knew part of it, but I didn't know the whole thing. So these are the important questions that you'll need to be able to answer in order to write your paper. All right, how? How in the world am I going to do this? How am I going to answer all of these questions? Well, first, you have to find and read sources. We've already gone over how to find sources, but you actually need to read them once you find them. Once you read them, you will get the information you need. Now, in order to make sure you're reading actively and learning from your reading, you're going to take notes, and once you're done with your notes, you're going to summarize your articles. Remember the 5 W's and 1 H. If you know the 5 W's and 1 H, that means you understood your source and you got the information you needed. Once you have reviewed several sources, you're going to review all of your notes. And you're going to ask yourself, do I know the 5 W's and 1 H of my topic? Can I define my topic? Can I give examples? Can I name possible solutions? If you can do that, then you might ask, when do I stop researching? Well, you're done when you can say yes to all of these. So when you have an answer for all of these questions, then you're done with your research. Now, 2 research note sheets are due to me, along with summaries, on Friday, 9/22, and Monday, 9/25, depending on if you have me B day or A day. But you can actually keep researching until you turn in your essay. Let's say you've done your research and you're working on your rough draft and a new question pops into your mind. You don't just ignore it, you research it, because that's what will help you write the best paper possible. Now, for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, we keep talking about this essay, when are we going to write? After research, do we finally write? Nope. We're going to outline first, because outlining will help you organize your thoughts and really make sure you have everything you need. So I hope that this video has answered some of your questions. I hope you are enjoying this project. If you are confused or concerned about anything at all, please come find me or email me or send me a reminder. Thank you for watching.